Hi, and welcome to my video. Today I did a quick master study of this portrait that was illustrated by J.C. Leyendecker. I think I'm saying his name right. The video you're watching is at ×30 speed, so it took me just over 2 hours to complete. If you're unfamiliar with his work, J.C. Leyendecker was a German-American illustrator from the early 20th century. He produced over 300 covers to the magazine The Saturday Evening Post and virtually invented the whole idea of modern magazine design, at least with accordance to his Wikipedia article. I find his style of art to be really admirable because of his shape design and unique use of hatching lines over forms. He was known to practice and prepare all aspects of his painting before actually painting it, and he'd even practice specific gestures of brushstrokes to use in a final piece. While practicing from this illustration, I started by sketching in the head shape and the gesture lines I found in this drawing. At the beginning of the video, you can see how I try to find lines that emphasize the shapes and composition of the head. It's kind of neat because he crafts these really beautiful gestural shapes that lead the viewer's eye around the head, and your eyes kind of settle on the gaze and expression of the woman. If you look, even her hair bangs sticking out in the background kind of point back down to her eyes. Many of the shapes he has created rhyme with each other and echo or rotate similar shapes in piece, like the spirals in her hair. By drawing the sketch, it was kind of revealed to me that he really focused a lot on creating these unique shapes. When I first started painting, I thought it would work similar to an oil painting with the darks first, then built up to low lights. Easier in digital than it actually is in oil painting because I got to compare my color choices right on top of the original reference picture. But anyway, something I've realized in Photoshop recently is that I like using the hue, saturation, brightness slider or HSB slider more than working with the hue cube. If you're newer-ish to Photoshop, I definitely recommend trying out the HSB slider instead of the hue cube because it's kind of like easier to pick what colors you want to use when you're looking at like just sliding the hue, saturation, and brightness rather than seeing the whole hue cube and kind of being overwhelmed by all the colors you can pick from. I mean, I don't know, it's not a big deal, but I feel like it helps limit things for me. Anyway, so I'm not really much of an oil painter, but I believe that Leyendecker probably only used like 3 or 4 pigments in this painting, and they were all like analogous colors. And then he probably used, well, he obviously used like white and something to gray down the colors for the woman's collar, but all of the colors in this piece pretty much fall into like the orange category. I like the use of like the more highly pigmented peachy red in her cheeks, which I thought was nice because it drew a lot of attention to her face and her eye. What really sells the charm of Leyendecker's paintings to me is the hatching or cross-hatching work he's put into the forms of like the heads and faces and everything. The hatching lines he placed in the shadow areas in this painting, not only are they aesthetically pleasing, but they also kind of explained the reflected ambient light that like hops up into the shadows, and they help define like the forms of like the curves and like bulges in her like hair. I really loved adding these parts as finishing touches because they bring so much to the piece, and I really want to take what I've learned from this to implement into my own art because Leyendecker is a really great artist, and I don't know, I just really love his style, so I want to try and replicate parts of it in my own stuff. Leyendecker paints the backgrounds kind of as a final element to most of his paintings, and you can see that I painted it in the last 2, and it's neat because he edits part of his piece by painting the background, so you can see like the top of her bun and the back of her necklines are all edited by the white paint that's gone over top, so it's pretty neat. Anyway, thanks for watching my video. I really appreciate anyone who takes time to listen to anything I ramble about on my art channel. Please leave a comment about your favorite artists or artists throughout history and anything special you like about the way they created their art. Maybe you can even link to one of your favorite paintings. Anyway, thanks again and have a great day. Goodbye.